Good morning, traders. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Welcome to the Tuesday Outlook and Setups / Pound USD in-depth analysis. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Pound USD for the 3rd of May. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Enjoy the video. We'll be doing an in-depth analysis, top-down analysis, and I'm doing this on a regular basis every Tuesday morning. Tuesdays, usually we have a great setups on Tuesdays, not always, but let's see what we get. I think today we're going to also have a look at Aussie dollar. So be mindful that it might be a bit longer this morning, but depending on how GU goes. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I'm here, I'm on the daily time frame. I'm going to start off by looking at what we can see. So a few things that I've looked at yesterday. Yesterday we had this down closing candle, but Friday we had this up closing candle that swept the liquidity above that high and basically just tapped into the imbalance on the daily. You can see price just tapped into that imbalance level, and then we had this push towards the downside. So I don't think necessarily that we have turned bullish yet. So in my opinion, we kind of need to close above this area impulsively and start to really show lower time frame order flow that is in the direction of the upside bullishness. So I'm not yet seeing that. So as soon as we start breaking these highs, then yes, we can be looking. But for now, we still need to be looking for shorts from a daily point of view. There's not much to go off of, but from what we've given, from what we see, that's kind of the conclusion that we can make. Just note that often, and you can probably see this in your own experience, after a big move, you have a series of sideways moving days where price is just consolidating and moving sideways, and then usually you just trade the ranges. And what's nice about GU is that often that ranges can be anything between 60, 100, 120 pips depending on the current circumstances. So there is room for good trades. Doesn't need to be super trading, but just look back. Every time there's a big move, we saw price start moving slowly, more wicks and stuff like that. There was a big move, pull back, big move, pull back up, and then we just started sidewaysing. 3 days push up, and then we're just moving sideways, down push and just moving sideways for a few days. So it's characteristic to see GU potentially just be trading sideways for a bit before either further going down or going down and then going up and then continuing the trend higher. So there's a few different situations that could potentially play out on the daily, but we're not there yet, so we'll just be looking at what we've currently been giving. So after the daily, I jump straight to the 1 hour. I believe the 1 hour for me is like a bread and butter type of time frame where I find most of my setups and base my trades off of, just because it's an intraday level chart, and I think it's beneficial towards intraday level analysis. So we can this is the high we marked out. I marked this as the buy side liquidity because buyers are above it, breakout traders, and sellers which have buy stops above it, their stop losses above this level, which then has been taken out by this week potentially. So obviously then this becomes the new buy side liquidity, which is relevant to our current price action. So in terms of knowing where liquidity is, this is at first glance, this is an area that I would consider to be an area of liquidity. Then obviously towards the downside we have this area because price pushed down, tapped into this order block over here as demand. We just call it demand, whatever it may be. It's an area where price reacted off of. There were buyers and price went higher, or price was delivered higher, offered at a higher price, and we see price return towards the upside. Now, what's left below this low? Obviously, we have then the sell side liquidity below this low, and then ultimately we have it below this low as well. So now the thing is that we need to ask ourselves is, if we're bearish, we'll be targeting these lows and price will be delivered lower, and we'll be going lower towards these lows. If we're bullish, price will start to move up higher towards the upside. Now, you could consider this as a break of structure. I know probably a lot of people will be saying this is a structure break and price is turning bullish. Well, yes, it could be, but for now I'm going off of what's happening on the daily. So today, if we start seeing these levels the previous highs being broken and closed above, then yes, I do think we can be seeing price go higher. But for now, still, this is for me is a liquidity high, and currently I think this would be the range that we are trading within. I just need to put this noise off. So currently I think this is the range that we are trading within. So we already tapped above the 50% into the premium, and we tapped into this area of, this would then be our area of supply. So let's just rename that to supply. So we tapped into that and we started seeing the push towards down. So we had this bearish engulfing candle, price is currently retracing into it. So it could be that the push up has already happened, and then we can just see price now reach for this sell side liquidity. From this area, it could potentially then trade back up, all the way up, or it can just make a pullback and then continue going lower. So for me, I'm just looking for that initial London setup. What is that initial trade idea in the London session? And that is then where I try to base my trades off of. So we're going to just have a quick look at the 15-minute. A very nice wick on the 15-minute into this area. A very nice range on the 50-minute. We tapped into it and we saw this starting to break towards the downside. So we're starting to see that evidence that price is showing us that it is willing to go lower. Now I need to align this with a session opening. So the one is Frankfurt Open, which is at 8 o'clock GMT +2, and the other one is at London session is at 9 o'clock, so 1 hour apart. So we'll need to see what's the behavior at those areas. Currently, if we were to look for continuation buys, if this is the start of a pullback towards higher pricing, then obviously we would want to see a push down, followed by then the push up higher, which in this case then this becomes a liquidity. This is bothering me. I'm gonna just use the mouse. So then these lows become liquidity. The price can sweep, maybe tap into this order block, and then see price go higher. So that's a possible scenario as well if we just follow what price is doing. So I'm just going to mark out this area and we'll just rename it, give it a different color so we can differentiate between the buys and the sells. And this area potentially could be a relatively good setup because we also created these equal lows. You can see that with this push down, price only created these equal lows, left behind the imbalance and left behind this emptiness that price can fill and then continue direction. So this is an area where I would be sensitive to see longs towards the upside. So potentially I'll just have an alert in this area just above it, just so that I know, okay, if price gets to that area, I need to be looking and just see how it reacts. If we see a nice 1 minute pattern in this area, then I'll take a long towards the upside, potentially targeting then this high and then this high as well. But we're not here yet. So for now, I can see potential trade ideas for longs and shorts, which makes it a bit difficult. We'll just refine it to this 5. I don't like to refine lower than 5 minutes. I'll obviously refine it to a 5 minute and then look for 1 minute price action in this area for me to then take a 1 minute trade off of those areas. So currently this I've seen as liquidity. We could see reaction around this area, so definitely pay attention to what price will be doing once we get here and if it will move higher, because we have this area that I would deem as supply again, where price can then react off of to go even lower. So a few things to pay attention to. So for now, it's not setting up beautifully in terms of textbook clear setup. So it is a bit difficult to get a good read on what price is going to do. Personally, I think we need to wait to let price show its hand a bit first, because currently, yes, I'm not 100% convinced of a direction. So it could see the longs, could see the shorts, it could go either way, because we have the buy side liquidity above, sell side liquidity below, and ultimately we could just be moving sideways. So we are, if we take the ranges, we are currently still in this range. Technically, we're still in this range from this the low and this high. We're still in this range, and we're currently sitting at the 50% mark of this range. So that's why price is difficult to read now. Yes, we have the smaller ranges to the left. Sorry, not to the left, to closer at hand. So we have this push towards the downside, but it's all still moving within this bigger range. So we kind of need to decide what this bigger range is going to look like. Is this bigger range going to be a push, a pullback, and then a push again? I don't know. It could be definitely seeing the potential for that to go higher. So we could see price going higher at this as a structure break, and this move down was just a pullback, because we have a lot of liquidity and stuff on the upside that we can be looking for. So I am mindful that we can see price going higher, and for that, then this would be a good area for buys. Then this one, maybe even this one down below as an extreme. So just think of that as well. So maybe even that one as well. Liquidity below that low. I don't know if that's, all brokers have that low, but we have that low. So we could even see price coming down all the way to this area. So a few things to consider, but ultimately I would want to see a 1 minute confirmation entry in this area if we get along. Otherwise, price could just easily just drop through, and then we don't get anything significant, and then there's nothing to trade. And then we just look for the reaction. If price just free falls, starts going lower, and we do not respect these areas, we just break through them, then definitely yes, we can look for the shorts rather, because of the behavior then what we can see. So currently we need to wait. I think we have maybe some longs in play, but I also see shorts in play. So, and it feels difficult, and as I told you, it's because we're inside this range. Use this one. We're inside this range at the 50%, almost exactly at the 50%. So it is reason for pause and a reason for us to just wait a bit to see what is price going to do. How's it going to show its hand? So yes, that is, I think, it for GU. So you kind of have an idea of what I'm looking at, what I'm anticipating. Let's see how it plays out and what is then given to us. Okay, so I think we can have a quick look at Aussie dollar. Nothing too crazy, just a quick look and see what's happening over here. So what I marked out here yesterday was this imbalance over here that we have over here, and we had this range towards the downside, something like this. We tapped into it and we see price. Well, we tapped into it right now. Probably some news. This was like an hour ago. Big news, probably. I do think I am seeing some bullishness come into the market. I think there's reason to think that we can see some bullishness and a shift. We're already seeing some form of indication that price is shifting towards the upside, and then we could potentially see some long trades play out. But when this happens before London session, I don't even want to take part in a trade, because then I know London session is not going to be a very good a very good trade. We obviously have sorry all of this trend line liquidity, and trend line traders are going to be thinking obviously third tap on the trend line, or fourth, I don't know how trend lines work. So they could have a tap on the third tap on the trend line, and then expect price to then trade lower. But we can obviously see a sweep of liquidity first, and then maybe a pullback, and then going up. So then it really messes with the psychology, because then they think, okay, or usually we would think then if we were trading trend lines that either you get stopped out, then you see it go in your direction, then you have FOMO, then you enter it again, and then just to see it reverse back again and really mess you up. So there's a bunch of things that can happen and really screw you over. So be careful. If you don't see the liquidity, then you are most likely the liquidity. So just be mindful of that. Yeah, this is not anything possible. Nothing. The price needs to settle after news events or manipulation moves like this. We can't base anything over. There's no structure. There's no. We can't see the intent. It's just really difficult to make a good anticipation or analysis of what we can see happening. So for that reason, I think I'll just be focusing on GU today and just see the reaction around these areas to see if we have a potential long trade and what the situation will look like as the day unfolds. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I'm going to call it quits. I think we'll have to see. And as I said, we're in a difficult spot. I'm going to, maybe New York will be better, but I first need to see how price is being dealt and what's happening. Alright guys, have a wonderful day. And then, yeah, leave a comment, like if you like this. If you stayed up till the end, well done, thank you. I know like only 4% actually watched till the end, but that's not a problem. As long as you get some value and you enjoy it, then I'm thankful. Have a wonderful day, and then see you again. Bye.